What is up, everybody? How is it going? Welcome to DCS Week 5 review. So we're going to do our usual review, break down the games, look at the standings, and then I'm going to bring Tom on and we're going to talk about each team's path to playoffs this week. And I was supposed to write down questions for him, but I ran out of time to prepare, so I'm sure I can think of something on the fly. The path to playoffs thing will be interesting enough that might just be what we ended on. Now let's get into it. So we started off the day with Perrymaster versus Tomlet. Tomlet ended up winning this one. Tom asked us to give OT the actual MVP for this one, even though she didn't get the most kills because she clutched it out in the end, taking 1-1 with Perry and then beating Hyarta 3-1. Technically, Fraudit was the MVP for this one. They look pretty strong, but the thing was that James was not here for this match. And Perrymaster went 0-2 this weekend, but they didn't have James for either crew battle, and they didn't have Perrymaster for the second crew battle. So that definitely affected their performance this weekend. Then on the other side, we had Team Vlone versus Team Quark. Team Vlone, again, not able to maintain their roster. They're having different subs in every week, and it makes it kind of hard for their performance. You know, losing to Team Quark, that's not that bad either way. Druish gets an MVP, and I'm sure you can see right down here. Druish actually double MVPs this weekend for Team Quark, going big for the team. Copal versus Team Slam Shady. Slam was another team that didn't have Kovu or Column for either of their games this weekend and also went 0-2. Pretty rough for a couple of these teams to, have dropped these super good players. Not what you want to happen, But anyway, Kovu, the MVP for their team, getting, 7? Yeah, 7 stocks in this one. They didn't even have to use one of their players, and they only lost 1 stock with Oniranaut. Huge victory there. And then over here, Team Quark versus Team Pickmans. Team Pickmans, man, they went 0-2 again this week. I know I'm a little biased cheering for Team Pickmans. I gotta root for the underdog. And man, it was tough seeing them lose these 2 crew battles. They were really close against Team Quark, only losing by 2 stocks. Pickmans came into the final thing, both of them had 3 lives and Quark just beat him. Such a tough opponent to go in against, so rough ending for that one for them. And then like I said, Perrymaster, they didn't have their 2 best players and they ended up losing this one to Lioness. Lioness and Hawk were both out this weekend, but that did not stop Team Lioness from going 2-0. And the Bow's getting an MVP here, and technically also Tojo tied with him for the MVP. And then over here we got Team Vlone versus Team Tom, and Tom actually loses this one in the end. He goes into the final battle with 2 stocks left against Vlone and almost wins it, but Vlone ends up beating him out. Tough break for Team Tom. They lose because they go 1-1 this weekend, and Team Quark goes 2-0. Team Quark now has the sole control of first place, and we'll see that. We'll go over the standings in a minute. Then again, here's Team Pickmans, and this doesn't look that close, but if you rewatch Pickmans or Bringus versus Copal, both of them are basically 1 hit away from killing Copal. Or not killing, but getting another stock off of Copal. And if he would have, if Copal would have died of 1 stock to Bringus, there's a chance that they just send in Prince next, and Prince ends Copal's run and doesn't take these 4, 5 stocks or whatever. This could look totally different if Pickmans or Bringus took a stock off of Copal before dying. But man, Copal is just such a monster. This was a 8-kill game. The top MVP for the weekend, Copal. Also the most deadly player for the weekend, you might be able to imagine after seeing his 7 stocks here, 8 here, 15 on the weekend, an average of 7.5 per appearance. Just going ham for his team also had subs, but it didn't matter. The subs did pretty good. Prod is probably too good for what I let him sub in for, but nobody told me how good he was before. So, that won't happen again. And then our last game of the day, Team Slam Shady, aka Team Sub Shady. They've got Spection, Azor, and a bunch of subs. And they aren't able to win it out against Team Lioness, who had their full attendance except for Lioness himself. But he found a good sub in Tojo, who tied for MVP in both of their battles. But my boy Beamed showing up with an MVP here. I like that. Taking 4 stocks in the crew battle. What a guy. So let's look at the standings. Team Quark, sole control of first place. Team Tom, second place, pretty solidly. Quark, we were just talking about, you know, how every team needed subs except for you, and Drewish carried your team this weekend. You know, the usual stuff. Team Tom with second place. The first week that they're not actually ranked first. This is the first week where Quark has had sole control of first place. Team Copel and through Team Slam all tied for 5th. This is pretty notable because Team Slam is dropping in the ranks. Like, they were tied for first 2 weeks ago, and now they are, 3 games off of first place? So it's looking rough for them with only 4 games left to play. And then we have Team Perry and Team Vloneflex, both dropping down. Team Perry and Team Vloneflex both tied for 6th place. This will be interesting. We'll talk about the path to playoffs, and these two, their placement is very interesting. And Team Pickvans at the bottom, rough. Still looking rough for them. They're on a long win drought. It has been 3 weeks since their last win, if I remember correctly. Vlone underperformed. Yeah, Team Vlone underperformed for sure. Like, their loss is to Quark, but they still underperformed. But it's because they haven't been able to have their roster for almost any week. I think Butters is going to officially take Sketch's spot starting this weekend, and that should be a really good pickup for them. Because Sketch has shown up for 1 single crew battle, which has really screwed their team. One special thing about Team Vloneflex is they have 2 Game & Watches, and what makes it interesting is there is not many Game & Watch counters in our whole crew series. Like, it's not a coincidence that Quark is at the top, and that one of the 2 losses Quark has is to Team Tom, the team that has a sortie main on their team. The thing with Team Vloneflex is that they have 2 Game & Watches, so on the weeks when Question Mark is there, they can send Question Mark out first, and if Question Mark wins his first the blind, then they have to send in somebody to deal with the Game & Watch, so that way they don't just start bleeding stocks. But because they have to send in somebody to deal with the Game & Watch, they don't have somebody saved for later to fight Vloneflex, and that's what makes their team really work, is when Question Mark and Vloneflex are both there. Because Vloneflex is undoubtedly one of the best players in our league. And then with how little teams have of good matchups versus Game & Watch, they have to use like whatever is not a losing matchup versus Game & Watch that they have on their crew, if they even have one. And then they don't have anything saved for Vlone after that. Yeah, I think that they have like a secret power when their full crew is there, but again, we haven't been able to see that many times. So it's been pretty rough for them.
Sorry about that. I just walked in the door, so.
Oh, no problem, no problem. For the path to playoff, I broke down all of the teams. Some of the teams that are like 5-5 right now are kind of hard to say, you know, what's going on with them, but we'll still talk about them anyway. But obviously, right at the top, we have Team Quark, and they are 8-2. They've actually already qualified for playoffs. So right now, they're just playing for a position. I think they won't even have to play a tiebreaker, even if they go 0-4.
I am very confident that they will be in the top 2, regardless of what happens.
Yeah. I was talking in your guys' team chat about the, like, potential outcomes, and, like, even for you to tie with them, like, if you lose to them, you have to go 3-1 and they have to go 2-2, but they would have to drop to these other teams, you know? So, like, I don't know.
My current mindset with it is if we don't lose any more games and we beat them again, we're in first.
Yeah. You guys have to go 4-0 and they have to at least drop to you, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's like the most likely scenario where they don't get first seed. But yeah, basically, in most realistic scenarios, they're gonna finish top 2 probably. Moving on to Team Tom, our second place team. I did all of the calculations of the different teams you could tie with and stuff. And if you win 1 game and you lose 3 from here on out, it doesn't matter which ones, you'll at least have already locked a tiebreaker versus Vlone and Perrymaster. And even if either one of them goes 4-0, you'll still have a tiebreaker versus them. You are in pretty good standing to make playoffs if you just win a game. Like we were just saying, it's pretty likely that you will win more than 1 in the next 4.
Yeah, it's an interesting end of the season schedule because Copel we didn't really get to play at their full team because we played them in the 4v4 week.
Okay, and Copel was team substitute that weekend.
Yeah. So we got Lux, who I think is a comparable skill to Copel, but we haven't experienced him just blowing people up as much.
Yeah.
And then Team Linus or Team the Bows. The Bows last week was talking a lot of trash, saying he does not fear any of us, which I kind of fear him, so I guess that's fair. I'm very confident we'll beat Team Slam the second time, though.
Okay. Yeah, Team Slam, I mean, it's hard to say because, again, they haven't had Column, and Kovu didn't show up this weekend, but you guys beat them.
No, we actually lost.
Oh, you lost to them. That's right. Column. Yeah, the only week they had Column and you guys lost to him. So if he just continues to not show up, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah. And then Cork, their team's so good that we'll just have to try and win again.
So yeah, I think it's pretty realistic that you could pick up at least 2 wins there between those 4 teams, and secure a spot in playoffs. And then moving on to the next team, I wrote down Team Slam, and they have, because of their performance from the first round robin, they've already secured they've already secured a potential for tiebreakers with basically every team that matters. It doesn't matter what their win-loss is against Cork because more than likely they're not going to tie with Cork at the end of the season. But all of these other teams, they've got tiebreakers they could potentially have with them. So it's looking pretty good that even if they just get 2 more wins, they'll probably be able to make playoffs or play a tiebreaker for playoffs. So Team Slam is in a pretty good position if they can get their players to show up. And their last 4 games are against Pickmans, Vlone, Tom, and Perrymaster. And I put this on, I did a scale, and this is a medium strength of schedule at the end.
I think medium is fair. If they don't have Column or Kovu, Vlone and Perry, especially if Perry has J-Jeems, can be very scary.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I'm confident. And then, as for Pickmans, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Their whole team just seems to fall apart sometimes.
Yeah, I don't want to dunk on them too much. We'll get to the part where we talk about Pickmans. So there's a very interesting thing with Team Perrymaster and Team Vloneflex. They are tied in the standings. They play each other next week, and this game might single-handedly decide which one of them qualifies for playoffs, depending on how good the top of the table teams do. If they're struggling to pick up more wins because they're both 4 and 6 right now, one of them has to win this game, right? And then that could single-handedly decide which one of them qualifies for playoffs. Team Perrymaster's ending season is Pickmans, Vlone, Slam, and Cork. I put this one as a medium again. Pickmans and Vlone and Slam, these teams, it depends on who shows up and who's actually playing good for them. And then having Cork obviously is a really tough one to have in your end of the season.
Perry was the other loss for Team Cork in the last round robin, though. That is important to note.
Yeah, oh yeah, because maybe they've got the secret sauce to be able to beat them.
I guess so.
Well, having Jeems on the team makes it so
Made it a bit
they
easier.
yeah, they have an equivalent power piece, I guess, in their crew. Then for Vlone, their end of season is Slam, Parry, Copel, and Pickmans. And I put this down as one of the easy strength of schedules for the end. Like, their hardest opponent is probably Copel, like, based on recent performances. So I think this is a bit easier. So I think Vlone is more likely to make playoffs at the moment than Perrymaster. But obviously I could be wrong. I have recency bias, and we didn't see Jeems play, so I'm just negative on Perrymaster right now. So
yeah, they're definitely a team where it's like, if they have all their players, I think they are like an easy like third even.
Mm-hmm.
But when J Jeems isn't there, it is
when
rough.
half of your crew is asleep, when Perrymaster is too busy playing Genshin Impact to go find a sub for his team, it makes it a little hard for them to win matches. I'm not mad or anything. It's your losses. It's your losses, all right? But anyway, moving on to the next team. Team Copel. They've got tiebreakers with Slam, Pickmans, and Parry, which is like, Slam and Parry are two teams that they're more than likely going to butt up against in the, like, where they land. And so it's good that they already have wins against them. Their schedule ends with Tom, Vlone, Quark, and Lioness. And I put this as a very hard.
That is pretty rough.
Yeah. Like, Team
Like,
Lioness just came off of a 3-0, so they're looking really strong. And then Tom and Quark, the top 2 seeds. And so, like, your easiest matchup is Team Vlone. And okay, they beat Vlone the first time, but still, like, that's still a tough match.
But one thing I think we've seen, especially like more recently, is like Vlone will just go off sometimes. He took the 10 stocks a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, he's not like comparable to like J Jeems. I think like makes or breaks Team Perrymaster, but like Vlone can definitely completely shift.
Yeah. He can
like,
he can show up and just sway the whole crew.
And
battle
Copel
by
can do
himself.
that too.
Yep.
But
That's been the defining thing. The defining thing for Team Copel is like, if Copel gets in and they can't stop him, then like whatever other crew loses. But if Copel goes in and he only takes two or three, then like Team Copel probably isn't gonna win.
Very strange team.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And
because
I think like some of the players are just like, because they have so many subs, like, I don't even know who's on their original team.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we've seen Thymos play.
I've seen him a couple times, but like TechFest, for example, I haven't seen in a couple weeks. I may have not been paying attention.
Yeah, I don't know if they're only on my stream sometimes, so I don't really like see them when they're on the other streams. But I think I've only seen TechFest in 2 of mine. I don't remember seeing Luigi that often. So the next team is Team Pickmans, and man, Team Pickmans is in a rough spot. They have to win at least 3 to even stay relevant in the playoff conversation. And, you know, obviously being at, I think 2 and 8.
2 and 8.
Yeah, they're not going to, at this point, they can't even finish 50-50. Like, their best hope is to go 4-0 and then probably have to play a tiebreaker with somebody. So
I think it is, it's definitely, like, they have an easy, schedule for the end of the season.
Yeah, their schedule is Slam, Perrymaster, Vlone, and Lioness. And I don't think you could have asked for a easier ending as
In
the bottom
context,
team. Yeah.
I do not think it's very easy because like Slam having the 2 Nesses I think is just rough for Team Pickmans. Some of their characters do well, but like sometimes it's just a struggle. And then like Team Perry just kind of shuts down certain play styles. We saw Kevy against them, I think, do very well with Me Gunner.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they have a win on Vlone, but that could definitely be a change. Like it's definitely like easy hypothetically, but in practice it's a very difficult schedule.
Yeah,
I think, for their team particularly.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever, like, if you, anybody in the chat, or if you specifically have watched, like, League of Legends, but every year when Worlds, like, their crews, or when the draft happens for Worlds, the groups that the North American teams get put into, every North American team is like, what? This group is so hard, we're never gonna get out, and it's because the North American teams are the worst. And so
yeah, they're pretty bad.
So we kind of have, not to say Pickman's is the worst or anything, but when you're like the bottom team, no matter what, every schedule is going to look hard for Team Pickman's, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think all things considered, these are like pretty even teams. Like anyone could beat Team Cork in theory, but like it is definitely rough when you're at that big of a disadvantage.
Yeah, morale's got to be low on that team at that point, you know? So, anyway, enough talking about Team Pikmin. Sorry, I love you guys. I hope you keep showing up, and I hope you guys go wild and just screw up the whole bracket for the last 4 matches. Going on to our last team, the team that started off, 0-4? Team Lioness, right now is 5-5. They came into the second round robin with 3 straight wins, looking like Team Cork over here. And so this is a really interesting team because obviously, like, they've come from the very bottom and now they look like the top echelon of teams, but that could have been in part because Linus was subbed out this weekend. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll give some credit to Tojo there.
Yeah, Tojo got MVPs for both of their crew battles, and I don't know if Lioness has gotten an MVP for their crew. No shade.
I will say this, Tojo is a Palutena main in the past, and he's picking up Joker, but he only plays those characters.
Mm-hmm.
At least in stuff like this. He's got other characters, he messes around a lot.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of random picks from Linus that usually don't work out very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if he were like to dedicate himself to like even 3 characters and all of them like strong characters that cover each other, I think they would be a very strong team, especially with Bows.
Yeah, that is pretty notable. Like Tojo playing Palutena is like, okay, she has like 5 bad matchups or something and is good against almost any mid-tier, and not that many people are playing the top tier characters in this crew battle. So like,
it sucks.
Yeah. So it does make sense that the Palutena would be so strong for them, for those 2 that he subbed in for.
That is one thing I will say about Team Cork. I'm like excited to fight Team Cork because all of the characters are actually playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, that's what, during the draft, he was like, maybe I made a mistake drafting the most honest characters in the crew, like in the draft.
Except for Bowtie. I don't know if Bowtie has been subbed out yet, but he does not play Smash Brothers.
No,
He plays Young Link.
Bowtie promised me he would show up this weekend, and he did actually wake up for his matches this weekend, so he's staying on the team.
They also had David sub for them, which...
Yeah, because
interesting.
Mr. Monday's internet cut out, and like I think Cal messaged me and was like, hey, can David sub in for Mr. Monday? They're both round 2 picks. And I was like, I've never considered letting players play across on other teams, but he beat I think he went in against Podgy in that one, and he did good against him.
That was an ours, but okay. I told him to throw, and he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't throw. I was worried about that when I was considering it, but it was also like in the middle of me running a match, and I was like, all right, whatever, you can do it. So I'm glad it didn't end up rigging anything. He didn't just go in and like, oops, I didn't grab the ledge 3 times in a row.
I will sub for Linus next week if he can't make it. I'll help out Team Linus.
I told you I would write up some questions to ask you, but I didn't do that because I was working on this until I literally went live. Is there anything you want to talk about for the rest of the season here?
I do think, like, because the only thing we've considered with these, like, path to playoffs is, like, getting in at all. I do think it's important to note that, like, the top 2 seeds are going to have a bye, which is going to be very important in, like, something as close as this. Because, like you said, like, we're in second and we have a 2-0 above, like, the next highest team. But we're still not even guaranteed for playoffs. There's only one team guaranteed for it at this point.
Yeah, with
so
only 4 games left, there's only one team guaranteed. Yeah.
It is like a very close like race to playoffs, and especially like I think getting one of those top 2 teams is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So like I know for like my team at least, our goal is to just beat everyone but Cork, and then if we can beat Cork, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And then we'll still get the bye. Like being the first seed isn't as important as just being in the top 2. I think especially with like, I don't think the separation between like 4 and 5 and 3 and 6 is that big. So regardless, second and like if you're first or second, you're still going to be playing a strong team. So you really have to consider just like make it to the top, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely having the bye makes a big difference because it's literally a whole crew battle that you're not playing. It's going to be all on one day as well. So you have a lot more time to like rest up or whatever, or you don't have to go back to back in crew battles as many times as those that are, you know, in the 3rd through 6th seeds.
Yeah, and it's especially, it's a single elimination bracket. So
yep.
You're going to like... You're automatically guaranteeing yourself top 4, or like tied for 3rd, by getting in that top 2, and then you only have to win 2 crew battles to win the whole thing at that point.
Yep, it puts you in a really good position. All right, Tom. Anything else to say to the people before I kick you out?
Bows, I'm gonna figure out how to fight Min Min because I don't want you to play that character. I was so excited for your PT, and then you were just like, I'm never playing this character again, and then you had to pick up the Noodle character.
Yeah, just at Fusion for some games. He'll play with you. He's always looking for people to practice with.
I might actually do that.
He was just in the chat a minute ago. You could probably get his attention right now if you wanted. All right, anyway, Tom, thanks for coming on. It was fun, and I will see you and your crew this weekend.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Okay, guys, before we wrap it up, I've got a couple other things to talk about. This weekend, I am announcing that we're doing a charity stream. It's going to be called Snowy Distance Demons. Everything is going to Toys for Tots next weekend. There will not be a prize pool. It's just going to be, you know, we're going to do the same thing we did for the BLM charity stream, where everything goes to the charity that of our choosing, which is Toys for Tots this time, and we raised $1,200 I think last time, so it went off. So I really would appreciate it. I'm gonna post the link as soon as I'm done with the stream here today, and I would really appreciate it if everybody retweeted it and we got a bunch of people out, because it was really fun last time and it felt really good. And this is for, you know, like, whatever holidays you celebrate, it's important that, like, you know, the kids got something to do for the holidays. And it's been a crappy year, and just starting to think about it is making me really sad. But yeah, let's get some toys for these tots, you know? Let's get some toys for these tots. Everybody should sign up. Make sure to share it with all your friends. And yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, we'll end it there. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found it interesting. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Good night.